Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to DC Universe Online. I'm, of course, Trex, and I want to actually give a shout out to player Hardblock. I'm actually in his base because I need a sparring target, and I don't have a sparring target in my base. So I literally went all through Metropolis, all through the people who have allowed me into their base. And Hardblock, thank you so much for allowing me to be inside your base and to have your sparring target here. So happy, because I didn't want to be in the watchtower. But anyways, this is a video that a lot of people have been asking me for. I know a lot of people have asked me for other loadout videos as well, and I'm working on those, taking my notes to prepare to get these a little faster here. So let's talk about let's talk about rage tanking. Rage! It's all the rage. So fun of a power. Right now, people feel it is the flavor of the month. It's the OP power. This thing is still like maybe 3 weeks old. She's a youngin. She's a youngin. There will be adjustments down the road as it goes, so it's not going to feel... If it feels OP, I'm sorry, it's a new power. It will be adjusted to be in line with the other tank powers. Ice is still OP in my opinion, but I mean, what can you say? It's still the #1 tank because of the shielding. So let's talk about the power itself first. With the power, I'll actually open up my abilities here so you guys can take a look and at my loadout. So I went into the anger tree because I want to get the plus 35 health because it's the largest health pool that we have for the powers. So in the tank roll, we already know that our damage is penalized by the 20% and our dominance is increased by 100%. Now, when we use our superpowers, when we use our abilities on our ability tray, our health is going to be increased by 2/3 of our dominance. I'm bad with math, so I can't really give you an accurate number. If someone in the comments can give an accurate number, 2 thumbs up for you. Because it's weird. Again, I'm really bad with math. But now this is it increases by 2/3 of your dominance for each nearby enemy. That means if you have 5 enemies near you, then your health is going to be increased by 2/3 of your dominance per enemy. All right. So this really makes us a very powerful AoE tank because our health pool will be increased. And so far, I have not seen a cap on our health whatsoever. Just haven't. So now what this tree doesn't actually also specify as well is that our powers, each time we use a power, our health is increased as well. So we have our health will be increased by every power we use and by 2/3 of our dominance for each nearby enemy. If Odyssey has a video on their channel that they've cranked up their one of the health, I think it was Cosmosic or something, I can't remember, I'm sorry. But he increased his health pool up to 900,000. I myself, I've seen my health pool jump up to around that 200k. Just because I was like in one of the new DLC 9 alerts or operations, and my health pool was like skyrocketed. But here's my loadout. This is my loadout tree. I'll pretty much go into it a little bit. Of course, Rage Blast. Actually, screw that. There's an anger tree on my channel that goes into each specific in each specific power that goes into this anger tree. Punishment tree is going to be coming soon, so you guys can take a look at that to hear about this explanation. But let me actually explain my linear progression for this tree. So I had to get Rage Blast. I needed a taunt. That's a given. Didn't really need Relentless Anger unless I was in DPS mode. This right here is definitely a DPS ability. I got Violence for a little AoE. Viscerate and Chain. It's a Rage, Crash, Ignore, duh. Now, I didn't get Ferocity because I got Ire in the other tree, which I'll talk about that. But what I did get is, of course, Without Mercy and Galian Eruption, which we'll go into when we go into the loadout. Over in the Punishment tree, I got Vindictive as my supercharge, and I made sure to get Ire and Severe Punishment, and of course, Ragebringer. So that's my tree loadout, and we'll go into my tree spec. Now let's go into the loadouts and we'll talk a little bit about that. So here's my loadout. It's a little bit different from what you've seen in my other operation videos with me rage tanking, but I'll go into that a little bit. There's only one difference. There's only one. Because I wanted to test it out and it became really effective. So first up, in my loadout is my outrage, right? My outrage is my rage crash. It is my #1 rage crash. I love this ability mainly because I lunge towards the target. If they're blocking, yes, it does hurt. It really does. But outrage is my lunge. It is my ignore. It's my #1. It's my super #1. Now, with this, it also has a power interaction of plasma. Enemies with plasma burn will take extra damage. If you have a rage DPS, most likely they'll have Galing Eruption. If not, this is the same instinct of you need to have communication with your other rage tanks or rage DPS. You need to, because it's just like Inferno with the fire people. Only one Galing Eruption will work. That's the only one. It's not going to override. If it does override, then I definitely missed that part. But I don't think it overrides. I think it's like one over the other. If he uses his Galing Eruption, I think I could probably still get the same benefits of a Rage Ignore, Rage Crash Ignore that Galing Eruption does, even if someone else casts it. That's something I need to test. Ooh, that does sound something fun, doesn't it? So, this is Outrage is a great ability. I really like it. Also, another cool thing about it is when my health is below 50%, the enemies will take extra damage. So you're looking at a little not really a lifesaver, but you know your health is low, especially as a tank. It's like, all right, you know what? We need to burn this a little faster. I'm now pumping out a little bit more damage. And all right, so there's that. The next ability is, oh, by the way, Outrage has a 7-second cooldown. I counted to 7-second cooldown. Next is Galing Eruption. All right, Galing Eruption is an AoE. It's an AoE that will you'll throw up on the ground, and it's just nasty, just completely nasty. But it looks cool, doesn't it? This will inflict plasma burn. So I will have Galing Eruption out on the ground. And that means that Outrage will do more damage because enemies will have plasma burn. I put that 2 and 2 together and decided to use it, and it works out pretty well. In the tank role, because I'm always a tank, this is a tank loadout. In the tank role, Galing Eruption will, the damage caused by the Rage Crash will be reduced while standing in the plasma. That's why I now need to test if someone else throws down plasma, will I ignore that? Yeah, that's a good test. Gotta test that. I'll try and leave that in the comments after I test that out later. So, Galing Eruption also has where you can choose whether to use might-based damage or precision-based damage by holding the melee button. It's initially going to do might-based damage, but if you hold the melee button immediately after, it's a lot of timing. If you hold the melee button after doing the animation for the ability, you'll switch it to a precision-based damage. So you have the either or. For me, as a tank, for some reason I'm doing more damage with precision than might, so I have a tendency to switch it over to the might-based damage to help out with the damage a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's a lot harder. It hits a lot harder than my might. My next, also Galing Eruption, has a 15-second cooldown, and the Galing Eruption dot effect with the AoE lasts for about 12 seconds. It lasts 12 seconds on the ground. I think you get like a few ticks. The Anger Tree video has a little bit more information in it for you. Next ability is Without Mercy. This has a 5-second cooldown. Now, Without Mercy acts the same way as Fire's Backdraft. It's a mid-range AoE. It brings everybody into you, and it also heals you for an equal portion of the damage dealt. Okay, so this is a tank power that you're looking at with your stats wise. Right now I'm spec dominance and health, but I'm probably going to switch it out where I'm going to get rid of the health and go with a little bit of attack damage and see how that goes out. I think that will be really fun to try and test out more. I know I should have done it before. My bad. I had to go to sleep. But Without Mercy, it's an AoE puller, and you get healed for the damage dealt. So, I think it actually coincides with all the other players all the enemies that get hit with it. I think it's actually added some, but that's something I haven't really seen too much. I've heard rumors, I've hearing people talk about it, but I'm not 100% on that. But you do get healed. That's the important thing. The next ability is Severe Punishment. This has an 11-second cooldown, and this is your button. This is your ability as a rage tank. Reason being is because you gain plus 10% control resistance, and you get a 10% increase on your health. Great! Great. Also, you're going to get healed. All the damage you take, you're going to heal back. You're going to heal for 8 seconds, okay? During that 8 seconds, all the damage coming in, you'll get healed. Great. After the 8 seconds, you'll suffer a rage crash, meaning that all that damage you took in is going to smack you. It's just going to smack you back instantly. But that's why we have abilities like Outrage that you can ignore, and you also have Galen Eruption that will reduce the damage for Rage Crash. So you have those two. Next ability is, you also have Vindictive, which we'll go into in a moment. My next ability is Ire. So why did I choose Ire instead of Ferocity? Well, they both do the same thing. In a tank role, it's going to provide immunity to the control effects, and it will remove the control debuff for you and your group members, up to 7. Pretty much your raid group. It's going to do it all. But I chose Ire over Ferocity because Ire will heal me. It heals me. I like that. Now, it does remove the control effects from me as well, and that's all Ferocity did. It removed the control effects and made me resistant for about 4 seconds. With Ire, the control effects are removed instantly, and I also get healed. So I do lose that 4-second immunity buff, but while I'm in tank role, I provide the immunity already. So I didn't need Ferocity. So Ire was my #1 pick because I got the heals. It's kind of like, it doesn't have a big stack of heals. Ire is actually based off the Resto stat I have found, thanks to Christiana as well for providing that information. And also through my testing, I found that Ire is based off of the Restoration, while the our other abilities that when we get healed, it's not based off of Resto. It's actually based off our attack damage. So after Ire, my last ability, my Supercharge, Vindictive. Vindictive is the first supercharge that takes 7.5% per second of supercharge. Okay, so it's gonna last for a little bit of ticks, and you're gonna get healed back all the damage being taken in, and through this time you'll be immune to Rage Crash. Now you also have to press the Vindictive button again to toggle the effect off, so you can turn it on and turn it off. I use Vindictive as my expletive button. It's my oh crap button. Reason being is because I hit severe punishment. I'm CC'd and I'm down like the last couple of seconds or something. I can't use Outrage. I can't use Galen Eruption. If I'm CC'd, I'm being knocked down or something, and my Rage Crash is about to hit Vindictive, because you can use it while controlled. Hit Vindictive. Your Rage Crash is ignored. Severe Punishment's gone. Hit it again. Vindictive's gone. So there you go. It should be active for maybe 2 seconds, if that. I mean, if you time it right, you can just hit it. Your Rage Crash is gone, and hit it again and turn it off. So you only have like that 1 second if you time it right. If you time it right. But I use Vindictive as my oh crap button. I don't use it like all the time. It's not in my state of rotation because it is a supercharge. So this is my loadout. I did a couple of tests before this video, and Galen Eruption really does help out a lot, and it's really fun to use. Also, I am a rage. I'm realizing my Red Lantern fandom here. For crying out loud, I'm throwing up. I'm throwing up blood. I need this now. I'm really happy I chose this route. So let's talk a little bit about the substitutes that you can have for this. Okay, now, a lot of people use Outrage because it's fast, the cooldown is short, it has the Rage Crash ignore, has the extra damage if your health is low. That's all great. But you don't have to use this. With my spec, I also have the option to use Eviscerating Chain. Now, Eviscerating Chain is our target below 35% health deals extra damage. This is like that Oh, target's low, extra damage thing. This is our final kill. This is our final ruin. All right, I think it's Proton Blast. I think it is. But yeah, this is it. We have this, and it also goes into a rage combo that you can do extra damage and stun and juggle. There you go. So this raid chain also serves a purpose for tanks. It will actually pull one target. That's right. It will pull your one target towards you, and it will ignore the rage crash. When you pull the target towards you, you hold the melee button, and you're going to do eviscerate, the pretty much the rage combo. That will juggle the enemy a little bit more while stunning, and you can just keep them CC'd. And of course, it does extra damage while the plasma burn's going. So there's that, if you don't want to use Outrage. Next one I would substitute is Violence. Violence is the one that you guys have been seeing in my videos. And I've loved Violence, I really have. But I switched to Galen Eruption because I want to stick with my character because I like to throw up blood. But with Violence was really quick. Violence has like that 12-second cooldown. It lasts for about 12 seconds. It has like about a 13-second cooldown, so it kind of goes on and on. You can just keep spamming it in a nice rotation. With Violence, it will damage and knock down the enemies around you on the initial hit, and then it will leave an aura around you that will damage all enemies around you. Now, if you hold the melee button, you'll switch it from a might damage to a precision-based damage. And of course, I've been switching it to precision because I do more damage as precision. And it still has the same tank roll effect that Galen Eruption does. My damage is significantly reduced while Violence is going on. Now, the Violence effect for this Rage Crash is actually lasting for 4 seconds. Okay? Galen Eruption, as long as I'm staying in Plasma, I'm ignored. I am ignored for that, like third, what was it? For that 12 seconds on the ground. It's 12 seconds, I am completely ignored as long as I'm standing there. With Violence, you're only going to have that effect for 4 seconds. So, it's a toss-up, really. It really is. Now, you can also switch out Without Mercy, which is an AoE pull mid-range. You could grab Ragebringer. Ragebringer is... let me see. Yeah, Ragebringer is a frontal cone AoE. So, if you have 3 enemies in front of you, use Ragebringer. Your ring will pull all 3 of them towards you in a frontal cone. So you could use that instead of Without Mercy. In Ragebringer as well, you will receive healing equal to a portion of the damage dealt. So you have a little bit of wiggle room that you can change some stuff out. So that's my loadout. So let's cut this part a little bit because I know people don't like to hear me talk apparently. I have to explain my powers. That it's what a guy does. Now, before we continue, I will say you don't have to agree with my loadout. If you have a loadout that's different from mine, that's great. It fits your playstyle. It fits you. This is a loadout that fits me, and if you guys find this loadout helpful for you, great. If you don't, that's okay too. You gotta find how you play your way. You have to find a loadout that's good for you, and I'll try to answer any questions that you have. If you have any doubts on my power or want any feedback, I'll give it. But I don't care. I don't care if you don't like the loadout. It's just not for me. But let's go switch the video over to some combat, so we can actually take a look at this loadout in action. All right, so I slowed this first part down a little bit because this is where we're just going to go fight a couple of ads, so I'm going to try and go slowly as my powers are using it. Starting off into the fight, I'm going to go straight in here and do Galen Eruption to get it on the ground. Now, you can clip Galen Eruption into Severe Punishment. So once you go ahead and start throwing up, hit Severe Punishment, and you'll clip your Galen Eruption, and it will do the might damage, but if you try and do the precision version, you will not be able to be clipped, okay? So you'll have to wait till the animation, well, you can clip the animation once it's up there, changing it to precision, but just do Galen Eruption, Severe Punishment to go ahead and start getting that healing in, because you're going to be taking a lot of aggro at that point. Next, you're going to do your Without Mercy, which will bring in all the enemies into your area, making them more into your Galen Eruption that's already on the ground. And then, as your Severe Punishment's going, remember, you need to hit your Outrage in order to ignore it But because Galen Eruption's on the ground, you don't have to, because your Rage Crash is going to be slightly reduced, or you can just ignore it with your Outrage. So you have an either-or option. Now here, in this next clip, we have the Almond Seraphite from the same operation. So we're going to take a look at this. As you see, I started off with Galen Eruption. Severe Punishment was already out as well, clipped into that, and I used my Without Mercy to bring everybody in. So there's Without Mercy as well. Everything's off cooldown now, so I'm going to go Without Mercy again to bring everybody in, and pretty much just waiting for stuff to spawn now, just in case. And there they go. Galen Eruption, go ahead and get the initial aggro right there. Next is going to be Without Mercy, making sure they're staying onto me. I'm getting some nice heals from my healer, so I don't really need to do my Severe Punishment. So I'm working it pretty well with my abilities here. Remember, I do have Ire that I will use just in case if I have to break out or something. So Galen Eruption is going to be the first thing that's always going to be popped, because you want to have that initial aggro. You can lunge in there, or you can use Galen Eruption, pull them you can pull them towards you, or lunge to them, and then use Galen Eruption. But now that the boss is out, Galen Eruption, Severe Punishment's already been activated as well. You saw mine Without Mercy, and I even used my Outrage. Used all of them all at the same time. So, with my Galen Eruption still on the ground, I can actually somewhat spam Outrage, because if I'm not taking enough damage in, that if I'm not going to worry about my Rage Crash doing too much damage, then I'm just going to use a Rage Crash for my ignore. I'll just have Galen Eruption under me to make sure that I get my Rage Crash reduced. But this is the loadout. This is the loadout that I've used for the past couple of days. It's working really well. Galen Eruption was actually a lot better than I would have thought, but I'm really loving that I can just stand in it. Rage Crash is reduced. I still love Violence. It's a good substitute if you want to. So you have options, but this is a pretty nice loadout. Alright guys, well there you go. That's the loadout that I used for my tank loadout. Once again, as a refresh, on my loadout screen, I use Outrage, Galen Eruption, Without Mercy, Severe Punishment, Ire, and Vindictive. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do hope that the video was helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions, you can leave a comment on the below, of course, or you can email me directly at trexlight.com, and I'll respond to you as fast as humanly possibly. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. I do hope it did help you guys out, and I will see you guys next time. As a reminder, one, be sure to like and subscribe if you guys already haven't. And also, in the description below, you will find the link to the anger tree that I have done. That was a nice little descriptive for the whole tree, talking about each power and also showing the animations. I'll be doing the punishment tree pretty soon. I'll try and get that out as fast as possible. And yeah, so be sure to read the description in all my videos, because you never know, there might be a link of something that could be very useful. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.